I'm going to talk now a little bit on choosing a hosting solution for your website. We buy a domain name, but now we need to physically buy a server that will be turned on, power to it all day long, and fat internet connection, and something that people can go access to view your website. Again, if you remember that client server model back in some of the first videos we watched, we talk about that. And so I've got here some different solutions, one from Namecheap, GoDaddy, and Bluehost. There's lots of hosting solutions out there. And there's things you want to look for when choosing a solution. So first off, if you are starting out, a good solution is what's called a share hosting account, okay? And shared hosting, the way that works is you have a server that has multiple domain names on it. You might have 500 different domain names on that account, and all these domain names pointed back to it, and really none of them are high traffic, but when they take that 500 and they look at what that might cost per month or something like that, then they can justify the costs of that server. And so this is an example of one through Namecheap, where $1.44 a month. They're going to allow you to have 3 websites on there, 3 domain names if you want to, and give you 20 gigs of SSD hard drive. And again, 20 gigs is more space than you'll ever need for a website, unless, I just don't even know how you'd fill that up unless you've got lots and lots of video on there. You can see you can step up and have unlimited websites. This might be something to consider, though, if you're running a business and you're running some websites for some businesses. You can go through and charge them, $25, $50 a month, and that's a pretty standard fee for managing websites, and have 10 or 20 of them on here, and still pay only $2.44 total, in that first year, or $5 roughly, each additional year. But you can see here they'll even give you a domain name and some different things, and so. GoDaddy, their shared hosting is going to start at $5.49, and that's their cheap hosting. You see Bluehost here; they're going to be $7.99 each month, but they'll tend to try to give you things that might justify that, a domain name for the first year, or an SSL cert, or things like that. So they'll find ways to, get you in. But I found typically Namecheap is one of the cheaper ones out there. And again, I've got no stock or anything with these guys. I don't, get paid anything to say this, but I think they're pretty inexpensive for what you're getting. So that's what we call, again, shared hosting. Now, there's other types of hosting out there. WordPress hosting, if you do have a WordPress blog or website that you're wanting to use. They'll update your WordPress stuff. Tends to be a little bit more, but still rather inexpensive compared to other services. You can see here, GoDaddy has their WordPress hosting, and I think these guys by default use WordPress on theirs. So some other options there. We can also look at dedicated servers. Now, the way that this works is they literally give you your own box, your own dedicated box, and you can pound that to death with traffic. And typically, you're going to pay more the more hardware that you put on that box. So you can see here 8 gigs of DDR3, a terabyte hard drive, 4 cores for $40 or $52.88 a month. And that's actually pretty, that's pretty good price. This feels a little bit more normal, and this $200 a month. But you can see that, again, it just comes down to how much hardware you want on there. If we look around at GoDaddy here, you can see their dedicated servers start at $94 a month and go up to $184, and those are pretty standard prices there. As we look at these guys, you can see their dedicated hosts are around those same prices as well. But so 120. But again, this is like your own box you can log into and do your things. There's another type called co-located hosting, and this is where you might have servers in different places around the world. And you can definitely look at these. This is where, this is a map of Google's infrastructure, I believe, Google Cloud. And you can see, depending on where you're physically at when you're surfing the web, you might end up going over to California or over to the East Coast or something like that. And so they want to keep these servers local, just so it serves up the content much faster to you. So there's a last one called Virtual Host, but I'm going to dive into some virtual hosting a little bit more in the next video. But those are definitely some options.